Hello everyone and welcome to another one of my DayZ videos. This episode's a big one because we're covering a hitchable caravan. I would love to see this in the future, some kind of future DayZ mod or something armor related, but in order to interact with this asset to its fullest, be aware this would demand a lot of coding. I was actually very close to putting this on the back burner, but I thought, just push on through, get the asset done and see what people think. Okay, let's roll. Alright, so first of all I started off with references. After having a look around at what would fit in the setting of Chernarus and its current vehicles already in Standalone, I selected a kind of retro looking caravan as everything in Chernarus isn't without age. So out of all the references, it was this one. This one really stood out to me. I ended up working with this one in producing the final asset, so here it is, ta-da! In the zombie apocalypse where people are displaced and constantly on the move, apart from strongholds anyone may be lucky enough to encounter, everyone else has become gypsies. This piece kind of reminds me of that movie Snatch for all good reason. So, under the dire circumstances, caravans are well lived in and even the older models sought after as they're a little bit of a step up from tents. To keep it consistent with the rundown environment, it's weathered and rusted, but not so much that it's unsalvageable. I know a lot of Americans are probably saying, you should have done an RV or a Winnebago like Dale from The Walking Dead. But through Europe to the eastern fringes of Russia, I'd say they're more partial to caravanning. I'd say it's down to the roads and type of storage space people have to deal with in Europe and stuff. But it's probably because we're skint and we can't afford second vans and second camper vans and stuff like that. Okay, so moving on. Why did I do this? What I really want to see is realistic looking survival camps in the end, either done by the dev team or through modding. At the moment, we have base building, but it's limited as players only have 3 different tents to set up. Now, I do appreciate that it takes time to bring new content out, and I've seen players do loads of what already exists. Though, as camping equipment is still very limited, bases look very samey, lacking character, and I would say very mechanical in the sense that it's getting very monotonous in building camps from what's available. But more importantly, it's very singular tracked. Finding and pitching a tent is just very one way. There really needs to be more options and challenges for providing shelter. As DayZ is an MMO, players should be able to come together and add their own unique addition to a camp, whether it's bringing back something in relation to your character or the adventure you go on. For example, if you were playing a woodsman, for example, and hunting in the woods, you could gather natural materials for makeshift shelter or furniture. Maybe there could be a few more types of civilian tents. Sort of more of these options could make your base more organic looking. But going back to the caravan, it's also something which is gained differently because it's gained through progression. So if you retrieve one for your camp, you need to fix up a vehicle plus attach a car hook using a wrench or something. Then there's fixing up the caravan itself. Perhaps you need to seek out 2 wheels to even welding equipment when attaching the jack. Perhaps even keep the caravan steady with the by collecting the stilts that fold up and down underneath. Yeah, there's many other things as well because, you know, the caravan's got loads of little things and attachments to it, hasn't it? So, you know, you could go keep on going. It could be endless pretty much. So in order to get it back to your base and in full working order, players will either have to teamwork in pooling their resources and time, or if you're that kind of lone survivor person, you know, you're probably going to have to scavenge for a while until you'll be able to actually get one of these. Though it begs the question, why go through all of that when you can get the same function from a tent? With it being an item that's a step up from a tent, well, firstly, the biggest advantage is that the caravan is mobile, so you could store the items and have them ready to move out. But then again, it could be argued that it's no different than piling everything into a bus or a truck. And you know what? That makes total sense. If it were to be truly beneficial, then extra caravanning items would have to be developed, such as larger gas canisters and water barrels. You could attach them to the wardrobe section and use the caravan as a prolonged source for gas and water. Or even set up a cooking area by attaching a dual cooker, though all these things would take time to develop. Then there's the issue of moving around inside. The confined space is going to be difficult to move your avatar around, let alone get through the front door. As it's a vessel, I'd say using the same mechanics as a vehicle would make the most sense, so you'd have options to different seating and standing positions. Also, like a vehicle, it could mute any voices when inside the caravan, so if you're into roleplay, you could use it to hold a private meeting. So for example, you have some friendlies that come into your camp and you can be like, well, step into my office and we can do business. And while you're talking to them, you can be also crafting some boiling water on the stove to offer them some soup or hot drink later. That's the ideal of it anyway. But the idealism doesn't just end there, for this thing is collapsible. Oh yes, this vehicle is collapsible. So if you want to take your road rage out and go all Destruction Derby or Dukes of Hazzard, kablow, there you go. Or perhaps when raiding a camp, you unpin a grenade. Hey buddy, hold on to this for me. Slam the door. Sayonara. Done and dusted. I've also got this idea that if this piece could never be playable, then it could make a pretty good prop for an MPC camp. I'm thinking of camps that could spawn randomly deep in the woods and are protected by NPCs with light arms such as shotguns and pistols, that kind of thing, but they're sitting on like barrels of dank loot. So instead of doing the usual run to the military bases, you can go on raids with your friends to properly pillage a camp. And that's about it. Just a few final thoughts. I really didn't want to go into talking about the whole desyncing with vehicles at the moment, as that will improve in time. For this video, it's whether it's possible to make a towing system or not, because if towing can work, then it can open up doors to things like cargo trailers and other funny things, possibly like an old cannon you can salvage from the castle and like use it for like sieging bases or something funny like that, you know what I mean? Yeah, so lots of potential there, loads of potential here, I think. And there you go, peeps. Tell me what you think about this piece and be sure to sub. Thank you to all my subscribers so far. Thank you for hanging on. I know it's been a while. I'll get some videos to you as fast as I can. We're going to be covering other stuff soon as well, so be sure to check that out as well. Take care, guys. All the best to everyone. Take it easy.